multiple videos of seeing land masses, of seeing mountaintops from 150 miles away. When you're talking 150 miles distance, you should have curvature. You should have curvature in the in probably about 3 to 5 miles of curvature. So these mountains, you shouldn't even see any part of these mountains, and yet you can see them. You can see lighthouses that you shouldn't be able to see. Has anybody here investigated flat Earth yet on their own?
Honestly, no.
Earth is not perfectly round, right?
Correct. Well, I don't even believe it's round at all.
Right. Okay. It's not perfect.
I don't mean to cut you off, folks. This is what they say that we went to the moon, that they landed on the moon. Okay, guys, you ready? This piece of junk. You're welcome. Wait, let me give you the guy that's. It's only a little. It's like a little package of paper. If you want to take it, I'll bring it out. I'll be into it. My channel's Zoom Truth, and you can check it out. I'll be posting this like tomorrow or the next day. You'll be a YouTube star. All right. Do you guys see this thing?
That's crazy.
Is that embarrassing? Now, if you look at it in high definition, you're gonna laugh because this doesn't do justice. This thing here, look here. You see these bins? This is like an art project, guys. Okay. Now, does anybody here know the last time we went to the moon?
Like 1960.
That's good. It was 72. There you go. I don't know exactly, but I'm going to go with your answer there because it's in the neighborhood. So that's almost, is it 50 years already? Yeah, that would be right. 30. Oh no, it's a little under. It's a little shy of 50 years since we went to the moon. Don Pettit, if you go onto YouTube and you search Don Pettit astronaut, we don't have the technology to go to the moon, you will watch an astronaut freaking lie to you and tell you that we no longer have the technology to go to the moon. We lost that technology, and it is no longer possible for us to develop it anymore. Does that sound rational to you or logical?
Not at all.
Does that sound like a liar to you?
Yes.
Heck yeah. Who wants paperwork? I'm telling you.
I want this paperwork. Hold on. Sips for investigating the flat Earth. I got one question.
Yes, sir.
How do you get from Asia to the United States so fast? If the Earth is flat, how do Asians get to California?
All right.
How can you fly around the world?
Great ideas. Now listen, there's the flat Earth model. I don't think it's perfect. I don't believe it fully explains. I don't believe it fully. It's okay. I don't believe the flat Earth model fully explains in totality what it is that we're seeing, right? But I can tell you this. Think about this logically. If the Earth is spinning, you know how anybody here know how fast we're supposed to be spinning right at this moment?
About like 10,000.
At the equator. At the equator. I'm sorry. How fast is the Earth?
7,000 miles an hour.
1,000 miles an hour. It's a little over. It's like 1,040 or 1,000 something. So we're traveling around the sun at 66,000 miles an hour, while the sun hurls through the space at 500,000 miles per hour, guys. An hour. So anyhow, long story short, going back to your plane question, isn't it strange that if the Earth is traveling at 1,000 miles an hour, right, spinning, how come if you get in a plane and you were to travel in the same direction of that spin, and most commercial planes are going to go 500 miles an hour, that's 500 miles an hour less than the 1,000 mile an hour spin. You're going to be losing ground. And if you went in the opposite direction of the spin of the Earth, so-called spin of the Earth, if you went in the opposite direction, you would then be making an extra 1,000 miles an hour.
You're not taking wind speed.
Are there a lot of people that think this way all around the world?
Yeah, brother.
All around the world, right? All around the world, people are thinking like
hold on one second.
Wind speed around the world, gravity around the world.
Right. Now this is where the key is. Listen for one moment, sir. The key here is, though, that everybody laughs and says gravity, right? Well, how many of these people can prove gravity? How many of these people truly understand the math involved with general relativity?
You take a ball, you just take a ball and throw it up in the air, and it's going.
Right, but that's
goes up must come down. But the laws of gravity, right?
Right, but no.
If you take a ball and you throw it up in the air, it's going to come down. Is that not the law of gravity?
Well, now let me ask you a question. If somebody else came along and said, "I have a new theory," and it's a theory that this is called washibi, right? And now they go, "I have all this math, and this washibi is actually what the gravity is." And he gives you the math, and you can't do the math of either. Now, which one are you going to believe?
I'm going to believe the person who throw the ball up in the air and and
Right.
come down because I can see it.
Right. All right. I don't know. Did everybody hear? Okay.
I understand that. However, I've taken physics before, right?
Yes, sir.
So we did the math of gravity, and I believe it's about like 7 or 9 point something meters per second.
Yeah.
That everything falls down at a rate.
Okay.
Right. So explain to me how that math is flawed.
Yeah.
Well, what it's doing is it's describing what is taking place. It's not telling you what it is. If you is anybody here of Neil deGrasse Tyson, the physicist?
Yep.
He even says look it up on YouTube. He goes when you get to what gravity is. This is the way he says. He goes when you get to what gravity is, as in explaining it. He goes, we don't know. We don't know. That's out of his words, almost word for word.
Can I ask you a question? Are you talking about out of the atmosphere or within the atmosphere? That's the major question, because once you exit the atmosphere, it's good. You're not even feeling that. You know once you leave the atmosphere, you're floating. That's why they do astronauts.
Yeah.
So your idea of how do we know if the math is correct? Right. So
no. Not just how do we know the math is correct. What they're doing is describing, like for gravity itself, they're just describing what they're seeing. They're not really telling you what it is. Okay, they're just saying how it acts. There's a difference. Okay, because anybody can come up with an equation that's going to describe how something acts. But knowing what it is, like Neil deGrasse Tyson says, is because what it is, he goes, we don't know. That's literally what he says.
So what is the argument? The moon only exists?
So the argument is really this.
The argument is the moon only
Guys, the argument is this. How do you guys know how do you guys know that moon up there is a round ball?
Because the tide goes in and out, controlled by the magnetic attraction. Hold up. The tide is controlled. The tide that you're seeing right now. Hold up. But you see that water going?
I'm sorry.
Guys, if you can just move.
No, it's a tide. It's tide, right? What controls the tide? The moon gravitational force is what controls the tide.
Yeah.
So if the moon didn't exist,
Can I ask you a question? All right, let me ask you this. I would like to start with one of the things that.
Please. You seem like you're a very educated man. What do you think your highest level of education?
Hold up. Did you know the moon have magnetic attraction?
I did a graduate degree.
Hold up. Did you know the moon has magnetic attraction?
You did?
I'm sorry.
Do you know the moon has magnetic attraction?
I don't know that. No, I don't.
Well,
did you
why?
prove that?
Okay, the water. Hold up. I'm proving it to you right now. The water is going this way and that way. What is controlling the tide of the water?
I don't know.
The moon magnetic.
All right, wait. Let me ask you a question.
I just told you.
Wait, have you literally done the math and you know that you've proved all that yourself?
I'm telling you that tide right there is controlled by the moon.
I know what you're telling me. What I'm trying to tell people is this, or trying to get across.
Listen to me. How do you think they forecast the weather? How do you think they forecast the weather? Hold up. How do you think they're able to predict what the weather is going to be the next day? What do you think they base those predictions on? No, ask me.
Well, you're not letting me answer any of your questions,
What do you think they base the predictions of high tide on? Where do you think that comes from? Where do you think they get that?
All right, can I answer it now? I don't know. So now here's what let me give you what I do know, folks. Now you've spoken a lot, and now I dragged all this stuff out here. Let me give you my perspective for one moment. Did anybody hear? Has anybody heard how that?
The moon controls the tide.
Has anybody Has anybody heard my argument about Lake Michigan and Chicago, where you can see the skyline? Has everyone here heard that argument? Okay. Now I'm going to give it real quick, guys. Hang with me if you've already heard this.
Why can't I see?
Now here's the deal.
No one's never heard of that argument. Only you've heard of that argument.
Here's the deal. Now, over a distance of 50 miles from the shore of Lake Michigan, you can see the entire Chicago skyline. Over a distance of 50 miles using spherical geometry, 8 inches per mile squared, you should be having 1,700 feet of Earth curvature beyond the horizon. Let me just finish. Hold on 1 second. Now, the problem is the tallest building in Chicago is the Sears, formerly the Sears Tower.
Let's look straight ahead and we'll see Asia right now.
The Sears Tower is 1,700 feet tall. The surrounding buildings are only 200, 300, 400 feet tall. Now the problem is you can see all these buildings. They should all be, and you can see literally almost all of them. The problem is that they should be hidden by the curvature of the Earth. You shouldn't be able to see any of them. So the point is that the newscaster now comes on the television, right? Does anybody know here what that they call television TV programming? Now they call TV programming for a reason.
Now I agree with you.
Because Wait, let me just finish. Can I finish my point? So they call TV programming a reason because they're really literally telling you how to think. So the TV newscaster comes on the television, and what he says is what you are seeing is a mirage. He tells you what to think. Now, some dude named Rob Skiba, he believes the Earth isn't round. He goes, I don't believe it's a mirage. I'm going to rent a boat, and I'm going to videotape that mirage, and I'm going to check it. I'm going to see if it truly is a mirage. He gets in a boat, and the day he does it, guess what? It's another mirage day. Every freaking day there is a mirage day. We can see a mirage. Now, hold on. Well, what I'm saying is... So, I'm kidding. I'm being sarcastic. Mirages shouldn't be happening on a daily or weekly basis. They should be a rare occurrence. So anyhow, he gets a mirage occurs. You have to look into it. Now what happened was he gets in that boat. He gets in that boat and he sees the Chicago skyline and he videotapes it the whole way across. So is it a mirage or not? Anybody want a piece? I got information if you want. This is my YouTube channel on here. You can say hi to your friends. I'm trying to promote this thing. So anybody wants it? And by the way, nobody believe a word I'm saying. You have to investigate this crazy stuff for yourself. Be careful, you'll lose all your friends if you start believing in this. I lost all mine. And one of my teeth, too. There you go, man. Thank you, I appreciate it.
There's no blast crater because it bounced from its original landing.
What's up, Q? You take this.
How about the dust? There's no dust on Moon? Is there? And there's not a drop of dust on this thing. Then how does this thing look for you in terms of its technology? That looks pretty high tech to you, huh? By the way, I would what?
That bottom part.
Yeah. I would highly suggest. Hold on one second. What is going on? Am I being stalked? I feel like I'm being stalked. Either that or they're trying to learn. I'm not even going to move it. I have a few officers here checking me out. I guess they're just keeping everybody calm.
Explain to me.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
No, this is incorrect. Wait.
Because wait. Show it in there.
All right. We're about right here, right? This is New Jersey. Yeah. We're about right here. So, since the Earth is curved, right? Yep. I can't look straight across and see.
All right, you ready?
Algeria or
you're doing a great job.
Or France.
Can I answer that question?
Wait. I'm not finished. I can't look across because it curves, correct? A sphere curves. Yep. So therefore, I wouldn't be able to look across and see because it curves around.
Can I give you guys?
If it was wait.
Yep. One question at a time, though, please.
This paper is flat.
I want you to join my team, man. You're gonna be a good salesman.
This paper is flat. Yep. Now, say I'm right here in New Jersey. I should be able to look across and see France.
All right, can I answer?
England.
Can I answer?
I should be able to see everything.
I'm with you. It's a great
right across from you.
Yeah, it's a great question. It's a great question.
Explain to me.
Does anybody know that there is water in our atmosphere? No.
Correct.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Has anybody here swam in a pool?
No.
Yes, I swim.
Okay. Now, if you hold a ball, that ball in your hand in a pool underwater, you can usually see the ball, right? Now, if you were to have your friend take that ball out of your hand, swim across the pool, put the ball under the water, and you were to look through the entire length of the pool, you think you'd see that ball?
Yeah, I could.
No, because it's under the water. Countries aren't.
Thank you.
Wait. Countries aren't underwater. They're
Hold on.
So how?
Hold on. I'm answering your question.
Go ahead.
You're asking great questions, guys, but you gotta. The key is, you guys.
I appreciate the globe.
You guys, the key to learning isn't asking the questions. It's seeking the answers. So you're asking the questions. I'm gonna give you my point of view, and then when you refute it, then you go, that guy's a lunatic. He's missing his tooth, and he's crazy, right?
No,
I'm with you. You're doing great.
No, give you.
So now check this out. There's another. Everybody goes, oh, it can't be water, right? Has anybody driven on a foggy night?
Yes.
Can you see?
No.
Why can't you see? Because you should be able to see across to Europe, right? Okay, thank you. Does that make a little sense?
So you're telling me it's fog across?
No, what I'm saying is, listen, guys, what I'm saying is that over an accumulation of multiple miles, as with our atmosphere, there's more humidity, there's more water density in the air at a lower elevation.
Simply,
the higher you go in elevation, the further distance you can see because there's less water density in the air.
I'm standing right here. I can see the building all the way down the boardwalk because it's a flat, straight across surface.
Well, you can't actually because perspective limits our distance that we can see.
I'm looking at the building with the little roof like this, with the light pole in front of it right here.
you see the people standing on? Because the people are there too. Can you see the people?
There are other people in front of those
answer
people.
my question. Can you see the people?
No, I cannot.
Why not? Did they disappear?
There are people in front of the other people.
Well, if there was a clear line,
there's nothing in front of that.
Let me ask you. All right.
There's nothing but air.
All right, you're doing a good job. Does anybody think now? If you guys would, I beg you, you go onto YouTube and it looks like there's not a boat on that horizon, right? There's not a boat on that horizon. Well, what people are doing is they're getting telescopes. Well, yeah, I mean on the edge of the horizon, right? So what they're doing is they're getting telescopes, they're getting binoculars, and what they do is they zoom in on the horizon, and they're able to see the boats. They're able to see them because the reason for that is, has anyone heard where they say that the boats go over the horizon and they disappear from the sails first down? Has anybody heard that?
Yeah, that's because the earth is round.
Right, but the problem is that people are bringing that boat that disappeared, they're bringing it back into view. And so that is no longer a valid answer. The other thing that's a little fishy about boats going over the horizon that you can see there is only about 3 miles out. Okay? Now, if you can see the curvature of 3 miles, why don't we see the curve? Look on that horizon. Does that look straight across to you guys?
That's how a curve works from that angle.
Well, that's what they were told, so we believe it. Like when you're told, so you know that placebos in medical studies, literally people will heal themselves just because they believe that they took a medicine that they believe is helping them.
Since Google doesn't work for the government, does that mean Google Earth?
Google works for the government. What are you, crazy, man? Come on. Google is the government.
Where are you getting your sources?
Everybody is working for the government.
Look on this paper here, and definitely take it with you.
Look, right.
Let me ask you guys this.
Wait. Can I say something?
Yeah, absolutely.
Second step. Trust the evidence, not the man.
Yep.
Understand that men are corrupted and lie for many reasons.
Yes.
Wait.
Yes.
Credentials are meaningless and often misused.
Yes.
On the second paper right here, the first thing you have is today's scientist, a quote from Nikola Tesla.
Right.
He is a man who lies and is corrupt. Why am I listening to this quote from a man who lies and is corrupt?
Well, because
you just said don't listen to men. Don't listen to men.
I said trust the evidence. So what you do is you take that. So what you're going to do is you're going to take what somebody tells you, and then you're going to work it in your own mind. However you're going to examine it, what it is that's been said or whatever.
You're taking this person's words and
no, I'm not. What I'm doing is using his words. In that particular case, I think he brings up that. What is the quote? Can you give it to me?
Today, scientists have substituted mathematics for experiments, and they wander off through equation after equation and eventually build a structure which has no relation to reality.
Right. So what he's doing is he's coming up with what his belief is, right? Which is only a belief. So I'm not saying that you should take this as proof of anything, but what you can do is you can apply it to how you see society act as a whole. And when I have 99% of the people laughing at me while they walk by, yet I know more about the ball earth model than all of them. Doesn't that seem a little strange to you?
Explain to me the ball earth model. Tell me something about the ball earth model.
All right, do you know how fast we're spinning around the sun?
How fast?
66,000 miles an hour, they say we're spinning around the sun. I don't think we're doing it. I don't feel a thing. Do you know how fast the sun is hurling through the... Does anybody here have any idea how fast the sun is hurling through space? Really fast. That's a good answer. 500,000 miles an hour the sun is traveling. Thus we are traveling 500,000 miles an hour every hour of your life.
So if you don't believe it, what's your belief?
So can I
Wait, the sun's not moving. The sun is moving. Everything, the universe is right.
How come you can't walk?
Because now you're arguing with the people who actually developed the ball earth model. So that's fine. I agree with you. I mean, I think the sun is moving above a stationary Earth, but
can you walk off? Can I just walk off the Earth? Is that because like?
Okay, has anybody here seen the movie The Truman Show?
It's a movie.
Right. Now what they do is the Truman Show. The Truman Show. What the powers that be really do? This is really hard to believe.
But that's a movie.
Right. And you know what?
A good movie.
What they do, and what's really strange in this world, the more you look, the more you're going to find deception, and then you're going to find some truth. And you're going to find deception in weird places, and you're going to find truth in weird places. You're going to find a lot of truth in the movies. Do you know that in Back to the Future, in the beginning of Back to the Future?
If you tell me that damn
in the beginning of Back to the Future, hold on. Go on YouTube on the beginning of Back to the Future, what do they show? A flat Earth, the flat Earth model of the Earth.
Why are you referencing?
Well, what I'm trying to say is that they show a lot of truth in the movies. When you, I don't. That's a good point. Thank you. Truth to me, right? It's in my mind that I've made up. That's a great. That's a super point. What I believe to be a lot of truth in movies. So anyway, you guys, this is what.
I have one question. No. All the solid pictures, you think all of them are lies, right? That shows that they're representing. You think all the solid, they're all stars on the moon. Like, you don't know.
Yeah, they're all CGI. They say they are. They say that literally. If you go on NASA's website, you can go on NASA's website, and they literally admit that their images are CGI. You agree? You've heard this?
Yeah. If Congress says the Earth's flat, I believe it.
Well, I would do a little bit more investigation, but literally, NASA photos are composite images. Composite images are images that have been stitched together.
Oh yeah. Like if I drill down too far, when am I gonna hit the other side?
I don't know. Do you know that there's another side? I don't.
I can see Asia right now.
I'm not smart. I'm not smart. I'm not smarter than anybody here. What? If you guys, the model that they say, and I have no idea, but there are airplanes that have diverted on their paths, and they've diverted in a manner that makes a lot of sense on the flat Earth model map. Anyhow, if you imagine a kiddie pool, right? If there was a kiddie pool in front of me, and then there was like little land masses inside the kiddie pool, you could circumnavigate that kiddie pool on the outside around all those land masses being, quote, like a continent. So there is a way to kind of still circumnavigate the globe. I'll tell you, there's more. There's just so much everywhere you look.
See this Fortnite map?
Does anybody here know that there's a treaty called the Antarctic Treaty? It was done in 1959. The Antarctic Treaty has basically made it so that you cannot explore, quote, the South Pole. In the flat Earth model, the North Pole is in the center of that kiddie pool. The South Pole is the remainder. Did you know that there is a ice wall, a 150-foot ice wall that explores? You can look up ice wall, old explorers, and there's an account that one kept in his logbook. And I'm not saying this is all proof that the Earth is flat, but it starts to add up, right? So anyway, this guy has an account of being in his ship for months at a time next to an ice wall that never ended for months, thousands of miles traveling in one direction. I forget his name, and I apologize, but you guys got to do the work yourselves too. You know what I mean? I already am thirsty. Don't trust me. Yeah.
What about a plane?
I'm a little disappointed.
What about? Oh, I love planes. Let's talk about planes, man.
If a plane was following that boat,
all right,
be able to see.
Let's talk about planes. You guys ready? All right. Airplanes. Now remember, we're spinning 1,000 miles an hour according to Ball Earth. Ball Earth Earth.
There's no gravity.
All right. Remember, we're spinning 1,000 miles an hour. They say. Now, if you were to get in a plane, theoretically, with using one manner of thinking, and you were to fly in the same direction, most commercial aircraft are flying at about 500 miles an hour.
Hell yeah.
And so if you're flying in the same direction and you're traveling 500 miles an hour and the ball beneath you is spinning 1,000 miles an hour, do you see what the problem is? You're going to lose ground. You're literally going to lose ground. So now if you were to fly in the opposite direction of the 1,000 mile an hour spin, woo! Now you're going to make some serious time, right? Now there is an explanation, guys, Ball Earth explanation that the Ball Earthers give us. And what they tell us is that there's a magical cocoon in the sky that withholds our atmosphere within a vacuum of space with no outer shell that holds that vacuum in it. So you kind of have to believe that, right? You can't really prove it. In fact, no man has ever created a pressure system within a vacuum.
Wait, what's this?
Yo, go back.
This one.
Hold on.
Conspiracy.
Yo, go back to the
This one's gonna say no gravity.
wait.
Oh, there's no gravity.
What does the Truman Show have to do with it?
Stop it now.
All right.
That's honestly
Now this one they do. Now of course they always have an. Hold on 1 second. Okay.
Yo, this guy's funny.
All right. So now, you guys, this one. Now this one.
Yo, that's not flat.
No!
Yo! Whoa!
Okay, what are those red circles?
Now those are North America. I'm circling North America. Can you see how the size of North America has changed in those three?
Dude, yeah, because it's tilt.
There's a reason for that.
That doesn't have anything to do with the tilt. They're all. Now it is possible. Now it is possible to take a photo of a ball, and if you're really careful, you'd be able to possibly make the continent look larger than it actually is. However, NASA has been busted so many ways on video that you guys, all you have to do is look into NASA and you'll see a liar. Does anyone here know that NASA astronauts have drowned in space almost 2 times? They've almost drowned in space. Did you know that?
How they drown?
Space is covered in
What liquid?
Okay, do you know where they practice their missions? In a giant pool, huge pool that has an exact that has an exact replica of the ISS in it.
Can you explain?
So isn't it?
Can you explain how there are seasons? How the night and day change?
Yeah, they have a model for it. I really can't. I can't say one way or another whether or not. Hey, listen. You know, can you do the math for general relativity?
No, I have to.
No, but someone can.
Are you sure about that, or were you just told that? Are you sure?
The moon landing was
Sure about it, right? You bet your life on it, right? Because there are physicists. Wait, hold on. Do you know that there's physicists? There's physicists out there who don't agree with general relativity, guys. So these guys are smarter than you, and they're saying, no, you're wrong.
There's scientists that don't believe in climate change.
Too, obviously, if you think the Earth.
Right? I'm with